Big game. Obviously, you're stepping in for Steph,
Yep.
but what are the feelings coaching a game in this arena?
Oh, it's I mean, you grow up watching the Bulls and you see Michael Jordan's, jersey and Scotty's jersey sitting up there. It's a surreal moment. But I think the message for us is the same. We want to continue to build that consistency on both ends of the floor, and it's another opportunity for us to do that here.
This is also, I think, an opportunity for these. I mean, the Fever play in Cambridge, so you
Yep.
guys are doing it all the time. But to prove like the WNBA can succeed in big arenas like that, I guess just maybe pressure is not the right word, but do
Yeah.
you guys think about that? How the business of things are changing and how
Yeah.
you're impacting that?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I think that we've had a great product for a long time, and it's great to have the eyes on us right now, and to be able to play in an arena like this. I believe it's the biggest arena in the NBA,
It is.
and so it shows that we can get it done in big arenas too. The eyes are there, and our game has grown so much. It's a great product, and so I'm looking forward to playing in this arena, coaching in this arena, and seeing us go out and have some success here.
Sorry, just one more. Um, Part of like the fun of sports is filling up big arenas
Yeah.
like this and playing in enemy territory.
Yeah.
Like feeding off of that. How do you feel like this team thrives in those situations and I don't know, rises to meet those moments?
I just think it's a competitiveness that we all
Yeah.
have as a group. Greenbridge is a great place for us to play at home. But I think you think about sports, it's going into enemy territory and being in hostile environments and being able to get the job done. This is a game of runs that we see, and so being able to like overcome adversity throughout the game in enemy territory, it's something that gives you goosebumps and gives you chills. So I'm looking forward to this environment tonight.
What has the preparation looked like over the last 24, 48 hours when you got the sense that maybe you'd be stepping up today?
It's just been the same. I think that Steph puts a lot on us. Not just me, our other assistants, Breon, my wife Karima. She puts a lot of trust in us, and when it comes to building game plans and preparing our team, for battle. So, it's just me stepping into that role. I'm going to lean heavily on our staff, like we always do. And so the preparation's been the same. The message to our team has been the same. It's about us. It's about our consistency on both ends, and it's about doing the things that we say we want to do. You got to walk it. You can't just say you want to do these things. You can't just say you want to win. It's an everyday thing. It's an everyday process, and so the message has just been the same for us.
You guys have experienced a lot of these stadium upgrades where
Yep.
games get moved into bigger arenas. Is there anything different about prepping for a bigger arena? I know sometimes people talk like sight lines, et
Yeah.
cetera. Is there anything different about that?
Sometimes the depth perception is a little bit different. So
Sure.
shooting, so getting extra shots up. You know, I, we hit a lot of shots today in shoot around. So knock on wood. Hopefully that carries over. But I think that's maybe the one thing. But outside of that, it's an arena. We'll be prepared. We'll get warm ups. We'll get the shots up that we need and be able to adjust in that time before we play.
I know players are focused, but have any of them mentioned like this is where Jordan played? This is where like a lot of his basketball history has been accomplished.
Oh, for sure. That's mentioned on the bus ride over. Our staff, we're a little older than them, and so we grew up watching Jordan.
Yeah.
And I remember where I was, during his championship runs. Sometimes on the road playing in AAU tournaments, watching, him play. One of them in hotel rooms. It's a. I mean, it's not overwhelming. It's surreal to just be in here and to see the banners grow up. We were back watching it on box TVs when we were growing up. So being able to step in here and see those banners and see those jerseys hanging up is really special.
Oh, sorry.
I was just going to ask. Obviously, you guys have been dealing with some injury
Yep.
adversity, different group this time than in the first game of the season. What have you learned maybe from this group as they've gone through that process?
I think it's just our growth. I can speak specifically about Aaliyah and kind of her efficiency and her ability to do a lot of different things for us. She's an excellent playmaker. She makes great decisions with the basketball in her hands. She can score from multiple areas on the floor. And so seeing her growth, seeing her take ownership of that, seeing Kelsey grow in her playmaking off the bounce has been really good. And then seeing our team, as a whole just step up, and it's just kind of next man mentality, Ari getting here, off the road, as a hardship player and stepping right into that role playing 27 minutes. It's really special. And so that's just kind of been our mentality. It's next person up, ready to go. And, I think that the players have a lot of trust in each other. And that's how it is sometimes. You got to fight through the battles, fight through the adversity.
Sorry, one last arena question. Again, you guys have played in a lot of the big arenas. Does this one feel like, I don't know, more significant in any way? I don't want to compare them, but
Well,
just because of the history here?
for sure, for sure. For me, growing up in Atlanta, I was a Hawks fan growing up, and so being able to play what is now State Farm, which was Phillips Arena when I was growing up, that was very special to see that. But definitely the history here. You know, you, you we all grew up watching it, and so just the history of this place, and seeing those Hall of Famers up in the rafters is special. I remember highlights. Definitely some really good battles. Both in the dunk contest and on the court. So, yeah, big fans of both of those growing up.
You guys as a staff have gone through success. Like, how do you guys, free from today, Steph not being here, just sort of relying on each other?
Yeah. Yeah, I think we balance each other out. I think that where I'm strong at, I can kind of balance out some of the weaknesses in other areas for our staff, and where I'm not just necessarily strong at, I can kind of lean on our assistants in those areas. But we're prepared for this moment. I've worked for Steph a handful of years, and she wants to prepare all of her assistants to be head coaches, and so she puts a lot on our plate, and she allows us to grow and be our own head coach in our areas, and so that's what we'll do tonight. It'll be a collective effort for us, and we're gonna come out, be ready to go at 7 o'clock.